what's going on? It's Jerry Glean back on the scene here with another video. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make space within your beat for your vocal to sit. So let's hop right in and get to it. All right, so the trick here is going to be utilizing an EQ plugin to sort of carve out a spot within the beat for the vocal. So when you think of frequencies, a lot of the vocal lives right here in the mid-range. So as far as tone and presence go, this is where you're going to see a lot of the frequencies for the vocal. And since the vocal is usually the most important element in our song, the one that we want to stand out the most, we don't want it to get covered up by other instruments like guitars and pianos and synthesizers. All of these sounds tend to contain a lot of mid-range frequency information. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and press play on this song that I recorded, and I want y'all to check out how much mid-range the guitars in this song are taking up. All right, so y'all probably saw there that the guitars were taking up a ton of mid-range frequency information, and that's because the guitar is such a dominant instrument. So what you can do here to be efficient with your workflow, and you can do this in Pro Tools, Logic, it doesn't really matter which software you're in. I'm in FL Studio. This is a really good practice, and something I do in all of my projects is I create a music bus. So you'll see here I have the music bus highlighted in yellow. And then what I've done is I've routed every instrument in my beat that has a melodic tone to it. So just for this beat in particular, I only use guitars, but y'all might be using more instruments and tracks to build your beat. But what I've done is I've routed those instruments to the music bus. And then the music bus is routed out to the master channel. And just to clarify, you don't route any drums or vocals to the music bus. You'll see over here on the far left, I have a drum bus set up where I've routed my kick drum, my snare, my hi-hats, all of that's getting routed over to the drum bus. The music bus is going to be specifically set up for instruments that have melodic tone to them. So the way that we're going to make space for the vocal to cut through the mix is on this music bus, I have an EQ plugin pulled up here, and you'll see what I've done is I've removed some of the mid-range frequencies right here at around 2000 Hertz. So this little range right here is really where most of the natural tone of the human voice is heard at. So by cutting all of the instruments right here, we're opening up a spot for our vocal to breathe at. The vocal won't have to compete as hard for this space right here because we've already dialed that frequency range back on all of the instruments that are gonna be kind of clogging up that space. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and press play, and I'll turn this effect on and off so that way you can really hear the difference. And make sure that you're listening with some headphones or studio monitors.
The earth is calm as you lay beside me in this moment shared together. I got no place to be but here with you in this dream as we proceed to leave our past on the horizon.
Okay, so if you listen closely, when the EQ was engaged, it felt like the vocal became more upfront and clear. Now, obviously, this isn't a huge and drastic change that we're making here. I mean, we're only taking out about 2 decibels from the guitars, but mixing isn't about making, these huge changes. It's about making a bunch of small changes that add up over the mixing process. And in the end, they make everything sound cohesive. A couple of things to note here is you can experiment with how much you choose to remove from this frequency range right here, and then also how wide of a cut you decide to make, okay? So this is completely up to you and your ears. And then also, if your EQ plugin has mid-side EQ capabilities, you could choose to just make this cut to only remove the frequencies from the middle of the sound source. And then that way the side information is still retained for the instruments. Your vocal, which is typically dead center in your mix, can cut through right here in the mid because we've cut the frequencies from the middle. And if you don't know what mid-side EQ is, then don't worry. I'll do a whole other tutorial on just that topic specifically, but long story short is making a subtle cut right here at about 2000 Hertz can really help create space for your vocal to live in. All right, so that's it for today. I hope y'all learned something. If you're still confused about anything, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and I'll see y'all in the next video.